There were cities in the Soviet Union that officially did not exist. They had no name on any map, no address, no postal code. If you looked for them, you simply found nothing. They were erased, deliberately, systematically by the state. But these cities were real. Hundreds of thousands of people lived inside them. They were called closed cities, or in Russian, Zakrytaya Goroda. Getting in required special KGB-issued permission. Getting out, the same. At their peak, over 40 of these cities were hidden across the USSR. Most of them housed the most dangerous programs the USSR had ever built: nuclear weapons, biological agents, chemical labs, all hidden behind blank map space. I want to start with the most infamous one, Arzamas 16. It sat 60 kilometers from the real city of Arzamas in central Russia. The scientists who worked there called it simply the installation. This was where the Soviet atomic bomb was designed and built. In 1949, the first Soviet nuclear test succeeded. The world changed that day. But inside Arzamas 16, daily life appeared completely normal. There were schools, hospitals, cinemas, even their own sports teams. But residents couldn't freely leave. Their families outside couldn't visit. Their mail was read. Their calls were monitored. Everything was watched. To work there, you signed away your identity. Your real address disappeared. Now, there was a city even more secretive, Chelyabinsk 65. This was where the Soviet Union produced weapons-grade plutonium at scale. The reactors there ran day and night, year after year, non-stop. And then in 1957, something went terribly wrong. A cooling system failed. A chemical explosion scattered radioactive waste everywhere. The Kyshtym Disaster, the third worst nuclear accident in all of history. Over 10,000 people were evacuated, but the world was told nothing. No official announcement, no press conference, complete blackout from Moscow. The accident was classified for 30 years. 30 years of silence. Let's move to Kazakhstan. Out in the flat steppe, Semipalatinsk 21. This city existed entirely to support the Soviet nuclear test site next door. Over 400 nuclear detonations happened in this region. 400. The people living in Semipalatinsk 21 lived beside those explosions for decades. Cancer rates in surrounding regions eventually became impossible to ignore. The health data was classified. The doctors were told to file reports, sealed. Deep in Siberia, another ghost city, Tomsk 7, known later as Seversk. It produced plutonium and enriched uranium throughout the entire Cold War. Entry into Tomsk 7 required a special propusк, a pass unlike any other document. Inside, the city had its own currency, its own shops, a parallel Soviet economy. News from the outside world was filtered and controlled down to every sentence. In 1979, another city nearly caused global catastrophe, Sverdlovsk 19. This was a secret biological weapons facility hidden inside a military base. In April 1979, anthrax spores accidentally leaked from the facility. At least 64 people died. The real number, almost certainly higher. Moscow blamed contaminated black market meat, a deliberate lie. KGB teams swept the city collecting medical records and autopsy reports. Doctors were ordered to write, intestinal illness, never the truth. The U.S. intelligence community suspected biological weapons. Moscow denied everything. The full truth only emerged after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Now let me take you to the Pacific coast, to a city called Vladivostok 40. It was a nuclear submarine base literally built inside a mountain. Soviet engineers hollowed out entire hillsides to hide their nuclear fleet. The base could shelter an entire submarine squadron from nuclear attack. From here, Soviet missiles could reach the American coastline within minutes. Back in European Russia, Saratov region, the city of Krasnoyarsk 26. This entire underground city was built beneath a mountain in Siberia. Thousands of workers spent years digging, most never told what it was for. 3 nuclear reactors were installed inside the mountain's core, and 10,000 people lived underground in this mountain for their entire careers. Let that sink in. An entire city, underground, with people inside it. The children born in these cities had no idea where they really lived. Their internal passports listed only a number, never a place name. They lived their whole lives whispering the name of their own hometown. Every vehicle entering or leaving was logged, every person documented. If you were selected to work there, you were simply told, pack your things. You couldn't tell your parents where you were going. Just goodbye. Special trains ran to these cities on routes that appeared on no public timetable. The railway lines themselves were classified. Invisible infrastructure. Once inside, most scientists spent 10, 20, 30 years never leaving. In return, they received privileges, better food, better housing, special medals. There was also Chelyabinsk 70, a second nuclear weapons design city. The Soviets ran 2 parallel weapons programs, so teams would compete with each other. Neither team knew exactly what the other was designing. That was the point. This competition produced the Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear device ever detonated. Its blast wave circled the entire Earth 3 times. The Soviets themselves were shocked by what they had created. Let's talk about a different kind of secret city. Near the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the space rockets that launched Sputnik and Gagarin came from a closed city too. Thousands of engineers lived and worked there, invisible to the outside world. They won the space race from a city that didn't officially exist. By the 1980s, the number of closed cities had grown to over 50. Maintaining all of them consumed enormous portions of the Soviet defense budget. Workers were sometimes transferred between cities, always in secrecy. Letters home were censored before they left. Personal news blacked out. Then Gorbachev arrived, and glasnost began to crack the walls. Inside the closed cities, scientists and workers watched the changes nervously. The military fought hard to keep the closures. Too much was buried inside. But in December 1991, the Soviet Union officially ceased to exist. Some of the closed cities opened almost overnight. People walked out, stunned. Scientists met relatives they hadn't seen for decades on public roads. But many of the nuclear cities stayed closed. They still exist today. Russia still has 10 officially closed administrative territorial formations today. Sarov, the renamed Arzamas 16, still produces nuclear warheads right now. Different name, different flag, same fence, same secrecy, same silence. The people who lived in these places remember them with complicated feelings. Pride, safety, strangeness, isolation, all mixed together in the same memory. Some of these cities are invisible today, even on modern satellite maps. Blurred zones, deleted coordinates, redacted from the digital world too. Everything I told you today was once considered a state secret punishable by death. The map was blank, but the cities were always there, hidden in plain sight.